the Spanish mackerel in, so we're going to talk about how to rig them up. Pretty simple, isn't it, as far as the rigs go?
Well, I've got a couple rigs I'm going to show you. A lot of people, some of the things that take some of the fun out of it is a lot of times people use too heavy equipment. A lot of times with Spanish people, because they do have extremely sharp teeth, they'll use wire leaders, and you'll still catch a few fish, and you won't lose any tackle, but your percentage of fish you can catch go way down when you put that wire leader on. It cuts down on the action of the small baits that you're using, yeah. And the fish kind of see it. But a couple of things that I use, first of all,
you want to kind of use a dark leader or light leader?
Well,
wire leader?
I would not use a wire leader at all. I would use anywhere between a 30 and 40 pound monofilament leader. Use a swivel here if you want, but if you do, use a small black swivel, because if they see a flashy swivel, they'll bite it off, you'll lose everything. But for this particular one, I've got about a 3-foot leader here, and one of the baits I like to, you can troll or you can cast at either one, and it's the this is a 5/8 ounce gotcha, and when you get this, I get the one with the single hook and the treble hook, and the first thing I do when I get it is I take a pair of side cut pliers like this, and I cut this treble hook off. Now you want to cut the eye of the hook, you don't want to cut the wire that's connected to it. You actually want to cut the eye of the hook here, and
Cut the treble off, huh?
Cut the treble off.
So because just to kind of cut down on hooks and hands?
Well, first of all, they're a lot easier to unhook, yeah, if you just have the one hook, and you won't have near the mess. So when you cut it off, they'll hit this one hook, then you just got one hook in the fish.
Yeah, it's like a metal straw kind of, huh?
Lead head, and it's called a gotcha. Yellow, white tail, red head, yellow head, chrome body, several different colors work. Primarily I use the yellow chartreuse or white as my 3 colors for these. A lot of times if you're trolling, you'll find that there's one color they like a little better than others, but these are not picky eaters. They will eat about anything. So all you do is tie this on. I use a polymer knot. The thing doesn't have a lot of action. It doesn't need a lot of action. All it's doing is imitating the little bait fish. And this early in the year, the bait fish that they're eating are relatively small. And ready to tighten down your knots regardless of what knot you're tying. You want to just put a little spit on it to keep it from burning the line and rubbing a spot on the line. So this is
a lot of good sites about how to tie knots.
Yeah, there's a ton of sites. What you want to do is pick out knots that you get good at tying it. Get yourself so that you're proficient at tying the knots, and then you can use it for about everything. But anyhow, there it is set up. This is actually on a 1000 series Shimano rod and a kind of a medium action reel. And
fluorocarbon? Does it matter?
I use fluorocarbon. With this fish, it probably really doesn't make a whole lot of difference. I have 15 to 40 pound spools of fluorocarbon leader material, and depending on what I'm fishing for, I just use fluorocarbon for everything. Okay. So that's just what I do. But you know, monofilament will do the same. You just want to use something a little heavier. The good thing about these baits and the single hook is the fish typically doesn't bite real deep on it, so you only hook the fish this far. It doesn't get up and get in the line, and you can you know, you don't, and occasionally you'll lose a bait, but typically your bait's fine. You don't have any break offs or where they bite it off, and it works well for you. One thing, a lot of people troll for these Spanish, and it's fine. That's a great way to locate them. What I like to do is, if I don't see action on the water where I can take the boat over and get relatively close to them and cast to them immediately, if I'm trolling, as soon as I come across the school of fish, I swing back around and I start casting that area. Okay. And the thing, you'll see birds diving, you'll see dolphins dolphins in the water around them and stuff. I mean, so you're seeing that activity, and typically this time of year when you do see that, the Spanish are right there. So so if you cast to them, they're not a big fish. Especially this time of year out here now, they're running from 12 to 17 inches.
Yeah.
So you get a lot more fight, and if you can cast to them. One of the other rigs that I use, and I'll tie this on here. And again, I've got a little bigger reel, but again, a medium action rod, and I use, it's made by Betts, and it's called a spec rig. And you just take this out, and these come in a variety of colors. What you have is you've got two. Got them doubled up here.
Okay, that's
and
sort of the same theory as those mackerel trees, right? Multiple
it is, but it's just the two. You can cast these a long ways too, because between the two of them, you've got a quarter of an ounce. These also troll very well. And again, they represent that small bait, and the hook are kind of long on these. And again, the fish, when they bite it, they don't get up here on your line. And one thing you want to do is every time you catch one of the fish, just kind of run your hand down the line and make sure you don't have any serious nicks in it. Because once monofilament gets a nick in it, it greatly takes away from its strength. So it gets a nick and then they break it. Just tie it direct. And there's any number of knots you use. I typically, for this, I will do the improved cinch knot, where you pass the line through twice, and you can look this up. There's several sites on YouTube that improve cinch knot. For years, before the Palmer knot came around, this was probably the most popular knot out there, and it's still extremely popular and extremely good knot.
Something I've been curious about for inshore fishermen, the trout, redfish, stuff under 30 pounds. What are the 3 knots you would recommend a guy would learn how to use?
Well,
a cinch knot, probably improved cinch knot.
The improved cinch knot's good.
And the Palomar we covered, right?
And the Palmer knot, and then to connect the leader directly to, and there's a ton out there. There's some different ones if you're using braided line. I use a couple different ones, but one I do use, and it's fairly recognized, it's called a uni knot. And you can look that up on YouTube as to how to tie it. The uni knot works very well with me. It's early April. It's a nice warm day, mostly overcast with sun peeking out just a little bit. Water temperature says it's 68 degrees. Of course, that's right on the surface. And it's a little breezier than we like it to be, but that's what you get in April. So we're going to run down here off of Windmark and see if we can find some Spanish.
Okay, so what kind of speeds they like? Yeah, all that kind of stuff.
Well, and this is just my theory, and I may be wrong, but typically earlier in the year the water's colder, fish are a little slower. I troll a little slower. As the water warms up, you can pick your speed up a little bit. Sometimes when it's really rough and you're trolling into it, you need to pick your speed up a little bit to keep from taking so much water over the front of your boat. So sometimes Mother Nature dictates how fast you troll. I really can't see a whole lot of difference. I know some of the guys in the big boats got here and they troll very fast. So right now I'm trolling at about 3.5 miles an hour, and I'm probably actually going to pick that up just a little bit here. Okay, we're up to about 4.5, and oh, that looks like a good speed. Looks like we're getting a little action here. Oh, there we go. Nope. Come on, fish. Come on. Now, looks like we're getting into school. They're both getting hits. Yeah, they're just kind of bumping onto it. They're just not getting locked on yet, but
Obviously went to a school of something. We're in about 19 foot of water. And you can see right in there's the second sandbar where it shallows up to probably about 4 foot.
That's a good sign, having a dolphin around.
Well, not good for fishing, but it's a good indicator that the school of Spanish are around. That's the dolphins and the birds are usually associated to them.
Any preferred way of cleaning a Spanish mackerel?
I've seen several different ones. I typically just cut down the whole side, cut down to the backbone and cut down the whole side. The bones are very thin in a mackerel, so they're easy. I cut down the sides, I skid it out. Then I cut right down the middle on both sides of that red line in their back. The bloodline, and that leaves you 2 finger strips above and below, which are boneless, and they're very good. They're very good fried. They're best fresh. They don't freeze real well. But fried, grilled, any way you want to fix them, they're a mild fish that most people enjoy. They make great fish tacos, whether you fry them for the tacos or grill them. Either one, they work out very well for that. There's one. Well, this one feels pretty good. And that one's got one on it too. So, hit neutral here.
I think that's gonna work.
Yeah, so of course we double up.
You're not gonna believe this.
You don't have any?
I didn't get any of that.
Good one on that. Did you get any of it?
No, I can't see this thing very well in the sun, and it was blinking, but it was blinking the wrong thing.
First thing I do when I get a lot of money is I'm going to hire a cameraman.
All right, yeah, I've got one on. Nice slow troll.
Whoa, come on, come on.
Little one.
Yeah. This one has, well, okay, so.
Do they pretty much stay in one location?
No, they travel all over. They'll eventually end up about everywhere. They will go wherever the bait fish are. They spread out more as the warmer weather gets here. Like I've been fishing for trout on the inside of the Cape and have a school of them just come through and cut off all your lines that you're fishing for trout for. Just
Fish on. There's another hefty one. A couple of chunky ones. What's that?
So far they seem to like the spec rig with the two on the gotcha plugs, not seeming to do very well, but different days they like different things.
Sometimes, what about fresh lures? You know, they can beat them up. Sometimes it helps to change out.
Well, one thing about it, especially with the spec rigs, is eventually the sharp teeth are going to cut the hair off the jig, and they're going to get more sparse and more sparse. My experience has been about the time that the jig needs to be replaced, the line needs replaced too. So the whole thing, they just take that one off and tie a new one on.
Bucket.
That was a little better.
Yeah, the first one looks pretty nice. Yeah.
Well, we've been Spanish mackerel fishing in St. Joe Bay. We're using spec rigs, which is a 2 small doll fly type rig. Usually catch them 2 at a time. We're trolling between 3.5 and 4.5 mile an hour, and just staying right off the second sandbar. There's a picture of the rig, 2 small jigs, and it's easy to tell when you get bit. They bend the rod over pretty good. They fight good as long as you don't use too heavy equipment on them. And they're a lot of fun to catch and a lot of fun to eat. And thanks for watching, and we're going to try to catch something else for you.